energy find me, or did I find energy? I found energy. When I graduated from high school, I was graduating from high school in a small town in Pennsylvania. I still remember walking into my guidance counselor I had a close relationship with and asking her, what's one of the better paid professions coming out of college? And she said, well, Trevor, the highest paid profession coming out of college right now is a petroleum and natural gas engineer. I said, well, that's great. That's what I want to do. So I'd say I found energy. That's a piece of the story. But then as I got involved in energy, you realize what an important industry energy is to every person walking on this planet every single day. How we manage the energy infrastructure affects not only our own well-being, but it affects all the businesses we serve. Typically, companies' number 2 or 3 spend is energy. We can affect the ability of a state to be successful. We can affect the way people view our industry so much. I think energy is just so central to what we do and what we deliver to our customers that I've loved being in it, but I did find it, and I found it because I grew up in a small town and thought, I want to do well when I get out of college. So that's how I found energy.
Mine's a somewhat similar story. You know, as an engineer, you didn't have a lot of options. So I was not into computers or electrical engineering or anything like that. And I really was drawn from an early age to just, power, big power plants, things that are just big. So I started in energy at a utility up in Canada, and then just loved it and been doing it for over 25 years, and can't really see myself doing something different. In the past, I would say 5 to 10 years, I've really seen the industry transforming from something that is fairly conventional, fairly steady, to more of a an evolution that we really haven't seen in many industries lately. So that kind of continues to excite me. What's going on right now in terms of everyone really wanting to be part of the energy equation, and what we're seeing around electric vehicles and charging and DERs, I mean that's really exciting, right? Because now all the stars are getting aligned. There's consumer or customer interest. Technology has caught up so that it can provide those options, right? The utilities are working much more closely with customers so that they're enabling those choices, and then regulators are catching up as well. So now we're kind of really at a tipping point where things are coming together, and it's a much more exciting industry than it was even 10 years ago.
Oh, I spoke at this event called Crane's Homecoming 3 weeks ago, and I led a panel discussion that was called Innovation and Legacy Industry. So we talked to some people in the construction industry and others, but I was telling the audience that I can't imagine an industry that's innovating faster than the utility industry, or one that's more of a legacy industry. I was sharing with the group that in 1901, Henry Ford was the chief engineer at DTE Electric. Well, at the time we were called the Illuminating Company of Detroit, but he started his auto business in one of our workshops because he wanted to do something else. If you think about the linkage between the electric industry and the transportation industry, it's only going to grow tighter and tighter. Today, transportation's the largest producer of carbon. So if we go back to the climate change, they're the largest producer of carbon in the world and in the United States. Electric utility industry is second, so we're close. But the electric utility industry is quickly moving to renewables, solar, wind, batteries. There's other ways that we're going to tackle it. For the transportation industry to cut their carbon footprint, they need clean fuel from us. Mm-hmm. So we need to get as clean as we can, as fast as we can, and keep the grid reliable. But that linkage has happened since the Henry Ford and the early DTE days. So I agree with you. The innovation I've seen in this industry in the last 10 years, it's amazing how fast it's changing. It may not feel like that to people on the outside, but if you're here every day and you're watching the things we're doing and you're watching how quickly we're changing not only our generation fleet, but our distribution grids, all the technology we're using, it's fascinating to me right now. It is the most exciting time to be in the energy industry.